Sport is fun, or at least it's meant to be. The Black Ferns World Cup win was euphoric, whereas all the fun has been removed from the men's game. Martin Devlin reckons something needs to change. Martin, this is your last Play in the Ball column for the year, and you've done a little bit of reflecting on the meaning of sport. What prompted that exactly?
Well, I just thinking that, we've got the World Cup of football on at the moment. We've got cricket on at the moment. We've got all kinds of competitions going on at the moment, rugby internationals in the Northern Hemisphere. And I just sitting there, watching a game the other day and just thinking to myself, it's actually meant to be enjoyable. This is what sport is. It's meant to take our minds off the humdrum of everyday life, isn't it? It's entertainment. And after, a couple of interviews I've done in the last couple of weeks, one with Steve Hansen and one with Wayne Smith, and both of those guys, when they stop down and talk about this, you've got to listen. And both of them have, sat there, and obviously Steve's got his daughter Whitney involved with the Black Ferns. Wayne was coaching the Black Ferns. And, I'm not putting the Black Ferns on a pedestal, but I think it's a great example of just, maybe what sport used to be like before professionalism came along. And for these guys, they're sitting there looking at the way the country has reacted to the Black Ferns, the way that people behave in the stadium, and especially the positive press around it, as much as anything else. And then you look at the All Blacks, and why aren't the All Blacks like that? The All Blacks are our number one team. They're our favourite team. They've been this iconic, amazing, export for New Zealand rugby for the last 100 and something years. And it's not just on a sports field, Hamish. We all know how big that brand is, and that All Black Silver Fern is more recognisable overseas. When the team do the haka and everything else, as recognisable as our flag. But you watch an All Black game and it's tight, it's tense, it's dour. The overwhelming reaction is always something to moan about as opposed to something to celebrate. I just think it's a real shame because I just think that, the players deserve a bit better. And maybe it's up to all of us on this side of the microphone and the television to just ease up a little and go, at the end of the day, why are we watching this? Are we watching it to get annoyed, peeved, to find something to bitch about, or are we actually moaning it because it's actually meant to be entertainment? And that's what sport is. And the point of the column is that, look, we all have so much less leisure time these days. We all, are getting squeezed economically on all kinds of fronts. I mean, this, and you can kind of explain this better than me. But, this is our leisure time and our what I call our pleasure money. This is me money. We're making these decisions. And if you're not enjoying that bit of it, well, I don't know what bit there is to enjoy.
So that All Blacks England game the other week was pretty dire, but I think Hansen on your show was arguing it's a bit more systemic than that. What does he think is going on?
He says that since men's rugby became professional, he said the great thing about what we've seen in the women's game is that, that's how people start playing sport in teams. You've done it yourself. You played because you wanted to play with your mates, and it's actually it's fun. You go to training, you goof off on the weekend, and I don't know whether the horse is bolted, whether we can actually reclaim any of this. But, I mean, maybe it's just an attitudinal change in our own minds. But I think that, there's a few sports in New Zealand, especially rugby and I think especially cricket, and the way that they've kind of media trained their players as well. It's just, you look at the way that Ruby Tui expresses herself after a game. And, I know that they won. And, of course, it's, probably a lot easier to be gloriously happy and outgoing when you have one. But right throughout that tournament, the women have got great stories to tell. It's like you're actually getting to know them a little better as people as well. It's a difficult thing to explain. It's quite intangible, I suppose. But, you get the New Zealand men's cricket team and you get the All Blacks, and there's just like this war, of just robots. And they just, no one's prepared to say a word in case it's the wrong word. I go back also to the Commonwealth Games and our gold medalists there, who we don't get to see a lot. And you see this in the Olympics every 4 years as well, mate, that we get to meet these athletes who just seem a bit more, just a bit more real, a bit more effusive, a bit more ebullient, a bit more effervescent, a bit more easygoing. And yeah, that's just a thought, isn't it? I mean, it's just, I think there's two sides to it. One is that the way that some of these sports have kind of put up whatever it is around their players, and they're perhaps over media training. The other thing is us from our fan perspective, just going, hey, maybe we just need to lighten up a little bit, I'm not sure that any of our teams go out there to lose. I'm not sure that the All Blacks went out there to play at Twickenham in those last 10 minutes and wanted to draw that game. But it's just such an interesting contrast. You go to a rugby test to watch the All Blacks and you don't go to have fun. Whereas you go to watch the Black Ferns and you go to have fun. There's an economic equation here, and...
Is there an obvious fix for the All Blacks? What's the fix?
I don't know. I mean, even if they win the World Cup, is there an obvious fix, If they win the World Cup, there'll be a whole lot of told you so's, or there'll be people saying that Razor should coach instead of Ian Foster. Maybe it's too late, but every now and again, maybe it's not too late to have a reminder that that's what sport is meant to be. It's actually just meant to be a laugh. It's meant to be, look, we spend our entertainment dollar on what? Movies, concerts, festivals, picnics, a bottle of wine with some friends. I mean, this is all part of that same dollar. Forget that it's actually sport. To me, it's all part of that entertainment spend. And we've got to remember that.
Oh, well, some good reflections to end the year on, Martin. Let's see how it all goes next year, eh?
Yeah, look, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've got to say thanks to everyone that's read any of these columns. I've written 43 of them this year, so thanks to anyone who's read any of them or provided any feedback with it. I really thoroughly enjoy it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the interviews, and thank to Chantel and everyone else who's produced these as well. It's been fun, mate, and I look forward to seeing you next year.
Well, have a good break, and we'll see you then.